live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Monday, which you know what that means. We are outside, and depending where you are in the United States, it's cold than a motherfucker tonight. And that is definitely the truth with our special guest of the evening, which it's always a privilege and honor to have our special guests. We appreciate them all, and this guest is no different for trusting us with having a human conversation. He's going to let us know who he is, what he's about here in a few moments. I'll give a quick little introduction to him. But before I do, let me give you a little reminder. We are the We Outside Livecast, where we do nothing but have human conversations. We are none. We are unscripted. We don't have a conversation planned. We're just going to talk because that's what you do when you're outside. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching us on YouTube and Twitch, we appreciate you. Make sure you go and follow and subscribe and like us and tell somebody to tell somebody, because this is one of the realest conversations out here, and we are privileged and honored to have, and it's few and far between that we get to, that I actually have ever had the opportunity to meet our guest in person. And I've been following you, Elusive, for a minute, and then I had the pleasure and the privilege while we're bring Dooney back in here to meet you in person. It was all unexpectedly, bro, because we both ended up showing up for the E40 and King ISO crash out video a couple months ago.
Yeah, that was dope.
And I already had a good feeling about you, from what I got to see, from who you are, what you do, how you do it. But it's always another level of connectivity, right? When you get to meet somebody in person, and the energy was real, it was sincere, it was genuine. And then when we got 2026 back on and popping for the We Outside Live, man, I had to tap out to you and have a conversation with you and invite you out. So again, on behalf of myself and Dooney and all the outsiders that are going to be tapping in, whether it's live or after the fact, we appreciate your time, the conversation, and most importantly, the trust to have a simple human conversation with us, bro. So with that said, I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to hand it over to you, bro. Just in your own words, you're always the best one to introduce to the world who you are and what you're about, bro. So I'll give you a few moments just to go ahead and do so. And then we're just going to go, bro.
All right. Well, as you said, I'm Elusive Eagle. Do a little bit of everything. I've been referred to as a Swiss Army knife of talent by one of your recent guests, High Def. He gave me that nickname the other couple months ago. I produce, I manage a few artists. My primary thing is photography, management, but I'm into all different facets. Music's been my life, saved me when I was a kid, saved me growing up through teens, all the hard times that I went through in life. Music's always been there for me. It's been my staple. So once I got around to this point in my life, it just kind of took over, and it's been going up since.
Man, there you go. I like how you put that though too, right? Swiss Army knife. I think it's important what you said there, right? And Dooney, I'm sure you'll agree too. You gotta be diversified, right? And a lot of people, when you hear that word diversified, they're always thinking when it comes to investments pertaining to money, right? But let's not get it twisted. Being diversified with respect to value is what you bring as an individual yourself, because if you're diversified and not a one-trick pony, and just like, for example, utilizing the photography aspect of what you do, you can lend yourself out to a lot of different things. And I'm sure that that's been helpful in anybody that you've been able to get to collab with throughout the years with your photography, music, and management as well, right? So let me ask you, let's just start here. How do you balance all that, bro? Because there's some people that find a struggle with that. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of social media, there's a lot that go into it, bro. What's if you have a trick or just what do you do to help balance everything out? If you can.
I'll tell you, realistically, and like you just, pointed out, investing in yourself. My whole life, I never did that. I never believed in myself. I always said, people always say, you're so talented. You're so good at this. You're so good at that. I never believed in myself, never invested in myself. And then I had a daughter, and that changed everything. I work full-time job, 12-hour shifts, 4 days a week, manage my artists, do my photography, and I'm a full-time single father. All of that's possible because she came into my life, and I never expected, I was 32 when I had her. I didn't expect kids at this point in my life, And one thing I always said is my biological father, he wasn't a good person. But one thing I always told myself, the one consistent mentality I always kept was, I will never grow up to be him.
Yep.
And the second she hit, everything just kind of clicked into place, and I just had to make it happen. And that's when I started, refocusing myself, investing in myself, thinking about what's going to be best for her. How am I going to give her the life that she deserves? And that's really been the only way I can balance it. I mean, I haven't had any special tricks. I just do. It's what I got to do. It's why I'm here. So it's what I do.
And there you go, Dooney. What are your thoughts when you hear that? Because man, that's an inspiration, bro. That's a hell of an inspiration right there. Everything that you just said, Elusive.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, but I heard something. He said like, so basically, he was raised without a father, right? Or someone that wasn't holding
I
up.
had a stepdad. My mom remarried. I had a stepdad, which he was a good dude. He taught me virtually everything I know as far as surviving and being a man. Not as and anything to do with the stuff I do now. Just, I mean, he ran a carpentry company, so I grew up going to work with him. Building. We built our house up here. I was born in Milwaukee. Right now, I live up in Tomahawk. Milwaukee. I'm sure you know Milwaukee. It's like the big city in the state. Where they moved us up to when I was 13, my class size in Milwaukee that I left was bigger than the entire K through 12 school that I went to. There was 20 kids in the class that I went to. I went from a class size of 600 to a class of 20 something. Up in the middle of the Northwoods, rednecks everywhere, straight kid out of the city that knew nothing about life. So that kind of shaped me right there. And it was rough. I'm not going to lie. I hated it. I hated it. When I turned 18, I left. I moved down back to a city and lived the life I thought I wanted to live. But, it wasn't anything to be proud of. And now I'm back here raising my kid up here. So that, I mean, not have, when I was in my younger years, I didn't have, that good positive influence. But once my stepdad came in, he kind of, took control and got us up here and got me away from, I'd be dead or in jail if we never left the city. That's for sure.
So you were saying the father being present is important.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And I mean, with all this stuff I do, that's the number one thing, I don't see it. And everybody tells me how great I do and, how good I am with her and how good she is and how she's becoming. To me, I never feel like I'm doing enough, even though I know that she's phenomenal. She's going to do great things in this world. She's going to change the world in her own way somehow. The things that girl can do already, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, you got to have that staple. And don't get me wrong. My mom, when she was with my dad, she worked 3 jobs. I have a sister. She's 10 years older than me. She practically raised me most of the time because my mom was always working to try to provide for us. So,
man, I feel you there, and my story is somewhat similar to that piece of what you're talking about, right? With respect to not really having that presence, growing up, at least in the respect to your biological father, right? Like mine, mine was always working nights. I mean, luckily he ended up kicking the bottle at some point, but he's an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic, 4 years sober. So we learned some things from our parents.
Congratulations on that.
I appreciate that, bro. And I'm curious because I know what it was for me, right? Because I'm in my second marriage, and in my first marriage, there was no plan to ever have kids. There was never going to be kids. And when I got with Wifey P, I knew it came as a package deal. So, some people give me the label stepfather, right? But I'm her dad, bro. I've been her.
Right.
I've been with her since I was 2 years old, and nothing against her bio dad. At least that I'll say here right now.
I feel you.
I'm her dad, right? And I say that to say this. I know what I learned from the good, bad, and indifferent from my parents, right? I'm curious, when I get to have conversations with individuals that share something similar in their growing up, right? How do you feel through your experiences, good, bad, and different, kind of influenced you to take the approach that you take in being a dad, yourself?
I mean, the thing I never really understood until I was in that spot is it's kind of how it is now, with my grind, with everything I do is my stepdad, he moved down to he's not from the city, but he moved down there, started his own construction company. It became huge. You know, he busted his ass to build what he did. And then he sold that also to get me and my mom out of the situation we were in and bring us up here and start completely over, and basically just taught me how to rebuild a life correctly and what really matters, you know. And like I said, I never really had that belief in myself. And that was the key, is once I started to, you know, really look at me and what I can do and believe that I can actually do the things I want to do. I definitely learned that from him. So
it's important because it's tough, right? Dooney, I know you share experiences in working with the youth as well, and your grandbabies, and you know you're a patriarch yourself as well. How important? And I'll ask this to both of you, Dooney. I'll seek your answer first and your thoughts first. The structure. What I heard out of that, Elusive, was just structure, right? But you got to put your own twist on it, right? Put your own flavor on it.
oh yeah.
How important, Dooney, do you think that structure is when it comes to being an influence, whether it's your child that you're raising, or, you know, even if you're just a patriarchal figure and having some influence on the youth as well?
Well, I mean, the statistics don't lie. Look at the amount of people that made it to prison in the YAs and juveniles, right? 90% of them don't have fathers in their lives, bro. Young boys need a model or a adult role model, bro, in their life, bro, that gives them discipline. You know what I mean? That helps with they build their self-esteem and their confidence, bro. Right? They got to get that from a man. It's hard. They can't get that from a woman, bro. Right? They get the soft things, the you know, from a woman. But those things that cement their character, bro, about how they'll walk and move through this life, comes from a man, bro. That's why I asked him everything that he's doing, and I always ask people, and usually if they're on that road, bro, and they're staying about them systems, bro, they had a positive role model. I don't care where it came from, but you had one versus not.
Yep. Yeah, and I can definitely stand by that, because I mean, growing up, I could say as easily, we never got along. You know, in my eyes, we didn't get along till I was damn near in my 20s, but that's because I didn't look at it the right way.
Right.
And looking at me now, I am so much like him that I think I'm looking in the damn mirror. But you know, we butted heads constantly. I mean, constantly, and I hated, you know, I hated life. I had, you know, just everything sucked, you know, all that. But if it wasn't for any of that, I wouldn't change a single bit. You know, I mean,
I think
it made me me.
I think the problem today is that parents trying to be friends. It's his job to rub you, bro. He's sharpening steel, bro.
Exactly.
It ain't gonna be good all the time. He gonna tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and you ain't gonna like it. But
and that's exactly it.
In the end, you're gonna say, "Damn, there was some good stuff," right? We need that in our, bro. We need somebody that care. We need somebody to care, to get on our nerves. Someone to say something we don't like. You know what I mean? Because those are the people that really love you, because they're taking the time to do it, bro.
Yep.
Need that, bro.
As a parent, it's not your job to be a friend. You're not there to be your kid's friend. I mean, yeah, I'm extra lenient with my daughter, a little too much at times, but when it comes down to it, you know, she's the most respectful with me, because she knows I don't play that.
Right.
But she doesn't give me reasons to, you know, have to be extra hard on her. It's more or less, I'm seeing things that I may have lacked in showing her.
I want to give you props for being there and standing up and doing that, bro. Taking care of your seed, bro, because a lot of men aren't, bro. That's why our community is the way it is, because we left them babies, bro. And the babies is ready to help them. We don't like the outcome of it.
Yep. And it was a battle. That was the hardest thing I had to do, was fight to get her. I mean, me and her mom, we didn't end on good terms. I didn't see my daughter. She was a year and a half when we split. I just kept trying to make it work, but it wasn't. She had other kids also, and it wasn't good for either of us, for the kids, none of that. So I made the choice that this isn't going to work. And out of spite, she kept her from me. And I had went 6 months before I finally got a court order, and thousands of dollars in lawyers and fighting and having to get myself in a place where I could walk into a courtroom. And Wisconsin is not a father state in any type of way. I know there's a lot of places like that. Wisconsin is one that, as a dad, you need to be on your shit if you want even a consideration. So I had to basically completely rebuild myself, and that's kind of what started this whole, new momentum, new idea of myself to me, and just showed me, that's, like I said, that's the one thing my whole life I've always had that's consistent, is I'm not going to be my biological dad. I'm not going to be him. The only way to not do that was to step up and figure some shit out.
Right.
Man, ain't that the motherfucking truth? And it's not easy, right? It's not easy. Go ahead,
Oh,
Dooney.
no.
Go ahead.
I'm just
to
Appreciate
talk
you.
about that real quick, going through that experience, because it's not easy. It challenges the mental, bro. It challenges the mental. And you kind of already had spoken to building some confidence in yourself, growing up. And I know that this experience for you was really no different, because I've gone through something similar in that regard as well. But I'm curious, in those most challenging of times that I'm sure that you had experienced, at least in that 6 months that you were just mentioning there, right? How did you keep yourself? How'd you keep your fucking head screwed on tight, bro, to make sure that you didn't step in the wrong direction, but just to keep the straight and narrow that you needed to reach that goal of what you were seeking? Because, right, don't get me wrong, anybody that's been through that scenario from a parental custody standpoint, it takes money, it takes the right lawyer. But I think a lot of people don't talk about the mental that goes behind that to get to the goal. So what was that experience like for you to keep your shit together, bro? Because I could only imagine everybody's similar in that regard, but everybody's experience is different, right? So what was it for you that just
Honestly, I went back home. I was living down in a city a few hours away from here. That's where we lived at the time. And once I realized, what was going on, she started calling saying I was harassing her or stalking her, all this crazy stuff. I left our house, went in with one of my brothers, one of my good friends, stayed on his couch for a few days and figured out what things are going to be like if I stay down there. And there was no positive future for me. So I just packed up my few things I had in my backpack, hopped on my motorcycle, rode the 2.5 hours back up here to my parents' house that we built, and started over. And it comes back to that, is I went back to where I knew that I would have the best advice and the best example of what to do. And within a few weeks, my stepdad talked me into just starting my own contracting handyman service company. So for my first 2 years up here, I was running my own business in carpentry, but I just buried myself in that, and I didn't talk to nobody. Nobody from my old life I messed with, nothing, none of that. I just left it all and buried myself in the work and focused on what I needed to do to accomplish what I felt I needed to accomplish. And I wouldn't have done that again without the proper person in my life. So,
man,
that goes back to having that influence.
And I want to talk on that real quick, because Dooney, we talked about that last week a little bit with Vanessa, right? When it comes to being selfish, right? A lot of people get it twisted when you use the word selfish. And I think this is a prime example of what you're talking about, Elusive, that you understood that to reach the goal of getting your daughter back in the right and productive manner, that you needed to be selfish, but not just selfish, but that's part of that level up process as a human being, right? No matter what we're doing. And I think people need to realize that more. And I'm glad that this is the second week in a row that it's coming up, because I don't think that's talked about enough either, right? Like, because some people will see it, and I don't know what experiences were, for you when you kind of messed with whether it ended up being temporary for that time period, or even if that extended. I'm sure at least one or two people that might have even extended beyond that time frame, right? What was the reaction from some of those people when you were doing the things that you needed to do first and foremost, because you got to take care of number one, right? And
Mm-hmm.
properly so you can take care of 1A, which in this scenario is your daughter, right? What was your experience in going through that with anybody that you were just like, whether you told them or not, but you just kind of had to step off, so you had to focus on what you had to focus on. What
I mean,
what reactions, generally speaking?
well, first of all, I wanted to cut back to that selfish thing. That was the
Please
point
do.
in my life that I realized, and I that's like my main mantra is the only person that you can truly depend on at the very end of the day in your darkest hour to always be there is you. And if you're not taking care of you, you're fucked. And yes, it sounds selfish, but it's not. It's basically required to be a successful human being. You know, if you can't put yourself first and your what you need to accomplish first, you're not going to really accomplish anything. And as far as the people in my life, there was the only people that I really cared to keep close. They knew what was going on, and they full-heartedly supported anything I did. Everybody else was just temporary. You know, anybody that I stopped talking to, they never, hit me up, never questioned me, never, where'd you go? None of that, because they just found somebody else to do for them whatever I was doing, or, it was nothing. I didn't really have a lot of real people in my life at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the only ones that I did are still my closest 2-3 people that are in my life. And my circle is so small now. I mean, I was one of those, hundreds of contacts in the phone, always at the parties, always had all kinds of people around me, but it was all superficial.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I realized is, I had to look more at myself and be selfish, as most people say. And that's the one piece of advice I give anybody that, asks me, what kind of, what life advice can you give me? Like, you need to be selfish, man. You got to put you first, because at the end of the day, in your darkest hour, the only person you can always count on to be there is the one in the mirror. That is it. No matter what, you're always going to be there with yourself. So if you can't handle yourself, you can't take care of yourself, you can't look at yourself and feel okay, no matter what you try to do, it's not gonna work out.
Bro, so
First
true.
care, the first care is self-care, bro, and everything comes after that. Because if you're not right, nothing else is gonna be right.
Exactly.
And if you make it right for somebody else and not make it right for yourself first.
Yep.
Right. So you gotta take time for self, man. And there's nothing wrong, man. I was told that sometimes success meaning leaving old friends and things behind. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And your new friends, your old friends is gonna be there no matter what, bro.
Yep.
And they're gonna tap in. And the rest of them gonna fall off. That's the best thing you can do is allow them to fall off, bro. You don't have to do no work. You don't have to do no work.
It clarifies a lot for you when things go that way. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's so true. And I know all three of us have experienced it. You obviously just alluded to that, Elusive, because the message there, people, I think, take that message for what you want, but the message that is reinforced for me from you sharing that story and that experience is the sum of the few, when it's genuine and it's real, is going to far outweigh the quantity of the fake, bro. It really is, because the energy and the frequency that come from the real ones, bro, that's going to live on beyond any superficial relationship. That you never
and
had.
they're the people now who they seen me at my lowest. One of them, like I said, my bro that I stayed with, I went from basically living on his couch in his house with absolutely nothing but some clothes and a motorcycle to doing what I do now. All because I made that choice. And they've seen that, and they're my biggest supporters because they know where I came from, what I went through to get here. All the other ones that were, there for whatever reason, but didn't really care, where are they now? They couple hit me up. Oh, you're doing so good, da 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 da, this and that. Can you do this for me, or can you get me this, or what? But none of them few people have ever asked me for shit at all. They just say, "Man, I remember when you were sleeping on my couch, bro, and look at you now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And it's crazy because even in those instances, you're influencing and inspiring people and you don't even know it. You don't
Yes.
even know it. And that's hella dope. And I think, because I live by a phrase that, we were not put here on the earth to be alone, bro. And when you can have that energy and frequency where you can make that impression on people, bro, that's beautiful because no different than we were talking about earlier with respect to value and investing in yourself, the investment that you've been able to put into yourself throughout the entirety of your life has been a return not only for you, but that energy has returned to people who have been able to go on that journey with you. And man, that's some beautiful shit that I wish everybody could experience. And sadly, there are people out here in this world. I think all three of us can agree. There are people in this world that are never going to have the opportunity to experience that, bro. And
Yo.
that's sad, man. Like if you stop and think about it for a moment, I feel for people like that. I empathize, I sympathize with them, bro, because it's a beautiful feeling, man. It's a beautiful feeling when you can do that. And I'm sure you've experienced that as well. And like you said at the top of the conversation, you've done some hella cool shit through the entirety of your life. And if I heard it correctly at the top of the conversation, it started with the photography, right? It sounded like that was a medium where you started to build some confidence for yourself as an individual, right? So I want to ask you about that. Where did that come in from, bro? Why photography? Was it something that you just kind of stumbled upon? Was it something that you were always curious about? Drop some information on how you came to picking up the camera, bro.
I mean, I've always been in the artistics. Like, I mean, I did beats and stuff back 15 years ago, and did a lot with music and all this. And I've always been into just random artistic things. Well, this was during the time that I had not long after I had left to kind of rebuild my life, and that whole time also, I didn't do a relationship. I had nothing. I just was focused on what I had to do. Well, there was a Ritz concert, wasn't very far from me, and I'm like, I haven't been to a concert in 5-6 years. I had the day off. It's like, man, I like Ritz. It'd be cool to go see him. So I went, and I just had my cell phone. I was there taking pictures and whatever. And that's where I met the two artists that I manage, Ace Wild and Dustin Warbear. That's where we first met too, which is crazy. Like literally everything started.
We're definitely we're gonna talk more about this later on today as well.
That's what's up. But no, that's where like everything started, was that night, just making that random decision to finally go do something different. And so I was just taking pictures with my phone and stuff, and I ended up talking with Ritz for a little bit afterwards and edited up pictures, and I sent them, or I posted them and tagged him, and he's like, "Oh man, these are dope. Like you do this, is this a thing that you do?" I'm like, I mean, I took them with my cell phone. He's like, "Man, you're really good at that," and I was like, okay, well then, that's when I met Ace and Dustin also. So, me and Dustin actually we lived just 45 minutes away from each other. So not long after that, he was like, "Yeah, we're looking for somebody to do like music videos and stuff for us." And I'm like, "Shit, we'll give it a shot." Mm-hmm. So we did that. And then, I just started going to shows with them. And then, Unconventional Kings came through with, Mayday, I believe it was. And, the guys were opening up for that show. And, High Def paid me for my pictures. First artist, anybody, to go out of their way to more than just say, "Oh, that's cool, thank you." He paid me to do it. I'm like, wait a minute here. This might, this could actually be something. Mm-hmm. So I started doing it a little more, doing a little different stuff for different people. And I started making money at it. So I'm like, well, shit, I can't do all this with my cell phone. So then I bought my first real camera, professional type camera. I mean, it was a little cheap one, but whatever. And it just grew from there. And it's just like, it was just all meant to be. Just everything needed to line up at that right moment. I needed to have the right mindset. I needed to do the right thing. Because I can tell you this right now, if all that happened 3-4 years prior, I did not have the mentality to handle what I do now. You know, being around the people that I've been around, being able to keep my cool and be a professional. No, I would have blown that day one. First time I met somebody even remotely famous, I would have been, oh my God, you know, the whole, you know, the starstruck
like
thing,
really
you know,
fanning out, like
yeah,
really fanning
but
out.
it's like, it's just, everybody's a person, you know, just because you're doing a little better in your respective area, that's great. I'm proud of you for that, but it doesn't change the way I'm gonna look at you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about that mindset and that mentality. I mean, like I said, literally everything that's going on now started from me going to that one random concert. And it all just spiraled from there.
Having the faith in yourself, and also just feeling like it was the thing to do, right? Because it sounded like it wasn't planned. It was planned when it was planned, but it didn't seem like you had planned this like months in advance necessarily. Where you're
Right.
like, hey, you know, Rich is coming through, and look what, you know, look where the universe sent you, bro. Look where the universe sent you.
Yeah, it was literally like 2 days before the show when I seen the thing about it on Facebook or Instagram, whatever it was on. So, you know, it was just like, just that random moment, and I just took it and we went up from there. And that's why I think I got so versatile in things, is because I didn't go into it planning on doing it, but I knew it was some part of this business that I wanted to be in. And so I started, you know, just doing different things, different aspects, and it all just kept, you know, landing in the right orders and presenting more opportunities, which with each new thing that I picked up doing. So I just kind of stuck with keeping all of it going and narrowed it down from there.
Man, that's fucking beautiful, bro. I love that. And most importantly, I want to say two things to that real quick. And then I definitely want your thoughts on this as well, right? The first thing I want to touch on, you know, you're like, hey, I was originally taking pictures on my phone, and then you're like, hey, I just went and got this little, you know, cheap camera, right? I think there's something to be said there, right? Because a lot of people, I think, if they're getting into something new, whatever that new is, right? They always think that they have to have the best piece of equipment or the best tool, right? And I think you can agree,
Yep.
you know, from even your handyman days, and the experiences that you have with that, right? It's not necessarily always the tool being used, but the person using the tool, right?
Yep. That is for sure. I just last year got my first actual professional camera. You know, I was 2.5 years into doing this before I got a real technical, expensive professional camera. But everything I did before that, comparing it, it's really not much different quality wise, because, you know, that was my biggest thing, is once I started doing it and I started looking into it, like, man, if I'm going to do this, I gotta drop $5,000 on a camera and all this, you know, extra stuff and all this. No, I didn't. I just needed to figure out what I had to do and how to do it correctly. And the rest of it's just figuring it out as you go.
Man, true story. Before I get to my second part, or point that I wanted to make with that, Dooney, what are your thoughts on that statement with respect to, it's not necessarily the tool being used, it's more so the person using that tool, right? Because at the same time, I'll even add to it a little bit more. You can have the nicest fucking tool out there, but if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, what good is that fucking tool, right? Like, Dooney,
Exactly.
am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong there, bro.
Bro, like people like you talking to somebody that grew up using bicycle rims and crates for basketball courts, bro, for a basketball rim, bro, and a flat ball. I perfected my shot with that. Right? I didn't need a brand new rim and a brand new net and glass backboard and brand new basketball, bro, with the Jordan shoes and all that, sweatband and all that, bro. It's never
back.
And it was him. It's not the equipment, it's his eye, bro. They're paying for his eye, his vision, what's on his lens. Not on the lens, what's on his lens is what they're gonna see. It doesn't change the lens when you pay for a different camera, bro. They paying for that brother's lens, bro. Of how he
That's
see things.
fact.
Man,
That's facts.
true story. True story. A second thing that I want to touch on that you had said, right? When you get to be around some of the people that you get to be around as well, they're humans, bro. They're humans just like us.
We all put
And
our pants on one leg at a time.
yes, man. And it's crazy because when you start to get to a certain, even if you're not necessarily at like a certain level where you're given the title celebrity or famous or whatever the case might be, that's the pedestal that you're kind of put on, right? And I think society, it's hard, right? I'm not gonna lie, Dooney, like when my first experience was with Dooney a little over a year ago, walking in the strange land, right? We were guests of X-Rated. And at first I was blown away. I was like, what? Like, first off, I got to fucking process that I'm actually here right now, right? But I think like immediately after I came down from that immediate high, realizing because Tech was there as well, but the family aspect of it, it was very refreshing for me to experience that part of it. And I knew that they're humans, but for me getting that experience, it's like, man. And Tech in this instance, day one, I think it was when we were there doing it, Yumi and Vanessa, Tech's wife was there, Alina was there, and it's just like, man, this is just cool because these are society called, and don't get me wrong, they're both fucking superstars and they're dope at what the fuck they do, but they're humans who are superstars and really fucking dope at what they do, man. And that's the thing that I appreciate about Strange Music as a whole, right? Like even getting to meet Trav on set that day, Elusive.
Yeah.
That was the first time I got to meet him, and then I had the privilege when we were leaving to actually shake his hand and have a conversation with him and just say thank you, right? These are just regular fucking people, man. It's just what society makes them out to be. So I wanted to make a point of that because you get that, and that doesn't surprise me. But I think it was a point that needed to be made. That, man, these are human beings, bro, and people just see them as anything almost than just a human being, right? And I think it's important for anybody watching live with us now who's going to see this after the fact. I don't care who it is, bro. I don't care if it's just, I'm a human. Elusive's a human.
Exactly.
He's a human. Let's treat each other no matter what whatever their job or occupation is. It goes back to that old saying, right? Treat the janitor the same way as you would treat the CEO, because we're all humans, man. So let me ask you this then, on that note specifically, in that point that I was just bringing up. How do you feel understanding that everybody's a human? How do you feel that's maybe led to some opportunities for you, going from Ritz to Unconventional Kings, and anybody else? Because I've seen your shit on social media, bro. You shot a lot of dope people. So just in general, how do you feel having that mind frame of understanding these are human beings and I just want to be an asset to them has helped you get some further opportunities within your craft and your arena?
I mean, realistically, it's a lot of people when they get that little opportunity or that moment, to do a meet and greet with somebody or, catch them on the street or whatever, it's they get that little shock, and then it's, oh, can you do this for me? Or can you, asking for a favor, asking for this, asking for that. And my thing was, anybody I met, no matter who they were, it wasn't what can you do for me? It was, hey, I can do this for you. Check out what I can do for you. Let me help you. Let me help you grow. Let me show you what I can do for you, for your cause, your brand, whatever. That's always been my mentality, is I love seeing the homies win. Whether we've been homies for life or we just met. I love seeing people win, because I've came from the shit that books are written about that people don't believe. But I don't carry myself like that, because I know that anybody and everybody can go through the same thing.
Man, amen to that, bro. Dooney, what are your thoughts on what Elusive just said there? Because you know me, man, it's one hand wash the other, both hands wash the face, right? Having that mentality, how do you feel? And I don't care if it's just Joe Schmo that you're walking on, across the street to meet, or Jill going up the hill, or tech, or rated, or unconventional. Like, how important do you think? Tell me, how are you?
How you doing?
Good.
Welcome
Good.
outside with us. You're live on the We Outside Livecast right now.
She heard
What
me
do you
talking.
want to say to the people?
Snuck out of bed.
Yeah, you got something to say to the people out here?
What do you want to say to the people?
Taking it. Give it back there.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for popping outside with us, young one.
For sure, for sure.
Okay.
You have a good night. Sleep tight.
Can you say
Love
hi
it.
to them?
Love
please?
it.
Yeah, bro. Real life, we get to see like what made him be the best version of him. That's powerful,
Big
bro.
facts. Big facts.
And I hope, like, out of everything that comes from this podcast, bro, that there are men out there, bro, that listen to you tonight and to stand up, bro, in their position, bro, and fight for theirs, bro. That's what I hope from this podcast. That's what I've been thinking ever since you've been saying that, bro. That's what I hope that brothers take from this podcast. Fight for yours. Be there for yours, bro. Don't give up, bro. That means if you have to change you to get yours, change you to get yours, right?
That's the one thing too I love about like I said, those few people that are still in my close circle is I've seen the changes in them as they see, and most all of them they have 2-3 kids, or they've had kids when I knew them, and I was just the bum friend basically. And they seen my transformation into that, like, dog, if he can do that and I got more experience as a parent than he does, there's no reason I can't do that.
Right.
So knowing that I've helped make the people that I care about do better in themselves and their families and their lives better, also that's another thing that keeps me going.
So you making super dads. Yeah, salute. Hey. Real.
Yeah,
Important, bro.
That's a beautiful thing, because that's what I think. When people say the word legacy, right? In my opinion, anybody watching, or obviously, the two kings that I have this conversation with tonight, that's what I think of when you say the word legacy, right? A lot of people, I think, get lost in the dream of, Elusive does this, and this. And don't get me wrong, that shit is cool. But what I'm taking so far from this conversation, that your biggest flex is exactly what he was talking about. Having your young queen that you are raising coming up with that smile, bro, because that shit just doesn't happen by itself. That is influenced by the love that you give her, the foundation you're setting for her, not just now, but that is the foundation of life that you are building for her. And no different than Dooney was saying, anybody that's watching this now, or the ones that you do have around you that know this day in and day out about you and the whys behind all the cool shit that you fucking do, bro, that's legacy, right? Because at the end of the day, when we are no longer physically here, nobody can take that away from you, bro. You are going to live on in the physical through your daughter, bro. You are going to live on in the physical and the mental through the other individuals. Even though this might be an hour-long and change conversation from us, I'm taking something from this fucking conversation, bro. And that's exactly why we do this live cast and we have these human conversations, because I want individuals that are tapping in with us, myself included, in the conversation. I want to be able to get something out of it, because I know, especially in the crazy ass world that we live in today, having these type of conversations with humans such as yourself, bro, it gives me hope for humanity.
Yeah.
That's
yes, very
tough,
much.
bro. And we need more of that, bro. So I salute you, man, because
I appreciate it.
know for a fact, bro, and I've only known you so much. I know when you're physically and God willing and the creator and the universe willing that it's going to be a long time from now, bro. But I do know this, that you are going to be living on long after.
And that's what I just made a little post about that. My parents, they live out in the country still, and I just took her out there the other day, but they live down a little dirt road. It's like a mile long. And usually when we pull up on there, she go, can I drive? Can I drive? And she's been, steering, driving. She's got her little quad now. So she knows how to handle stuff. But, I just made a little video of her driving my truck, steering, pulling into the driveway just flawlessly. And it's like, parenthood just hits different when you realize that you're raising the ones you can't live without to live without you.
Mm.
And that, that just really changes a lot of your views and perspectives.
Yes. Yes, it very much does. Man, that's hella cool. That is hella cool, bro.
Nay.
No. Yeah.
This I love this, bro. Ladies and gentlemen watching live, anybody that's watching this after it's live, this is what life is about, man. What Elusive is doing and how he's doing it. This is what life is about. I always like to say, use the saying, I like some mashed potatoes, but I like gravy on my mashed potatoes. And what you're doing, in your world, it's the mashed potatoes with how you're raising your daughter, bro. And the gravy is all the cool shit that you get to do for you as an individual, getting out there, being a manager to artists, getting able to shoot people with your photography and your videography and share that lens that Dooney was talking about through your eyes. Bro.
Dope.
This is what good humans look like, people. This is where it's at, man. Like for real, bro. Like for real. Like,
and I want to say too,
go ahead, Dooney.
We Outside Live is for that right there, bro.
Yes.
I want you to take that time, bro, for your daughter, bro. Your time with her is more important with us, bro. For you to take that time, we honor that, bro, on this podcast, bro.
I love that, yo.
Yes, sir.
It is, man, because we're family. Everybody truly becomes a family, man. You'll get to know, we always are sharing our family because we don't just bring anybody on to these conversations, bro. We don't. We want people who are real. We have people who are going to have real conversations, and we're going to make sure that even after, tonight and the next 7 to 10 days, anytime that we see something that comes across our page, we're going to share it, bro, because that's what family does. That's what real humans do, bro. And
right, we can't do this alone. We really can't. And that's one of the big things that have also helped me is, that, like I said, that mentality of what can I do for you? How can I help you or your brand or your goals? How can I help you achieve that? Because we do so much better together than we do as a competition. That's just all there is to it.
Yes, sir.
And no matter anybody, how big ever they are, I guarantee nobody would argue with that. They've done better with a team, with support, with a family, friends, people that are close that believe in them also, than they have alone. Because, I'm alone in most of the things I do physically, but I've got this team of supporters all over the place now that I've built through helping them. They reciprocate by being there for me and whatever time I may need. I don't ask people for shit ever. I'm the last, no matter how bad I need to, I still don't. But the ones that are there that are willing to do that for me, they know that and they see it, and it's not a thing.
You're right.
No, true story. And we're definitely going to get to what's coming up in the future with your goals and where you want to go. We talked about, but I want to make sure I'd be remiss. I showed the CDs earlier. I'm gonna show them again. We talked about the photography. We talked about the videography. But when it comes to being a manager of artists, again, ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Warbear right here and Ace Wild. All right, y'all better make sure you're gonna check them out. All right. So let's talk about that real quick before we kind of get to what the future holds as a whole for you. But what's kind of next, and how do you kind of alluded to it earlier, so we don't have to go back to that specifically. But what's it like being a manager artist, and what's cooking with Ace Wild and Dustin Warbear right now?
It's crazy, and like I said, how everything kicked off at that Rich show. The thing about those two and why we just instantly clicked so much is I seen their drive. I seen the work that they put in and the effort and the sacrifices in that one show the very first show, the first time I ever met them, I seen that in them and got to talk to them a little bit. And that's what kind of helped reignite my spark, is seeing these guys do that, at their level that they were at. And I'm like, why am I not going so hard? Why am I not pushing myself like that? And then when we linked up and started working together, we just became this like unstoppable force. We just started, kicking stuff out, doing videos. They were putting out more music. At that time, Dustin was putting out a song a week. I mean, like, just seeing that just helped get me motivated to where I need to be. And then once that happened, we just continually motivated each other and kept each other going. And, we kind of built this team, this little family. It's a wild card mafia, as Ace puts it. That's his brand. But, that's all of us now. We feed each other, work together and just keep pushing each other to do better. They're working on some new albums right now. Ace has got one he's going to be dropping probably the next few months here. Dustin's been working on some stuff too. I've kind of taken a break with getting them into little shows here and there, because we're trying to build up get to our next level, get our base built up a little more. Get some more money saved up for a promotional budget. I just had Five and Dime make us some actual better CDs, and the same CDs but better than the ones, because those ones you have, I did those at home. I printed it off my printer, burned the CDs, with my laptop, and I did like 50 copies, and I just took them with me and spread them out all over as I made my trip down there to KC. And then when I was out on tour with Webby, I was handing them out to people and everything. But now we kind of got to a place where I was able to actually get a good production version of everything. And I just dropped a little bit on some more videography gear so we can kind of level up our video game and stuff like that. So, I mean, we got big plans for this year. This is our level up year for sure. We've been building and grinding the last few years, and now we're ready to make that big impact.
That's right.
As it should be. And you guys are doing it the right way, right? Because we can get excited, right? We can get very excited with building that catalog in this instance, like you're talking about, right? And I'm sure there's a shit ton of stuff that you can throw out, right? And that's been up to, I don't know, probably last year as an artist myself. It's just like, all right, I want to get this done. I want to get it out, right? But what I appreciate about what you're doing and how you guys and the Wildcard Mafia, I love how you're building your own little family, right? Because let's not get it twisted. Blood makes you related. Loyalty is family. All right. So I love that you are building your own family through that loyalty and that love and support for each other and for what each other is doing, and then how that runs up collectively. Right. But I think it's a learning point for anybody that is watching now or is going to see this in the future, that the art is a piece of it, right? But depending on what the goal is for that art, right? If you want to sustain that, you have to look at it as a business, and you have to take a business approach like you would any business. So I commend you guys for taking those steps, because and for some people, it's very tricky. It's very tricky to do. And I don't care how good a piece of art is on any kind of medium or a product or service that you're offering to the supporters and those that are willing to purchase your products or your services, if you're not taking the right steps, you could lose something that ultimately is really, really, really great if you don't put it out there the right way, right? With respect to the
Right.
marketing and the quality of the marketing behind it and such. So that's hella smart, man. That's hella smart. And people need to know that because that's the right way that it's ultimately done, man. So, bro,
And
keep
that
on.
that also goes back into that, collaborative thing. Is I met Justin Strawstone, nice enough ENT. I met
Yep.
him through Ace and Dustin. They went on tour with him and Otis Julius a few years back, so they remain close and stuff. But I met Straw through them, and the things that I've learned from that man and that's what set up our plans for this year. I was lucky enough to have Otis bring me on as his photographer when he was touring with Webby. So not only was I with Straw for 2.5 weeks, I was with Webby and his team, and they are just phenomenal with what they do and their game plans and how they manage stuff. And the things that I learned in those 2.5 weeks on the road with them, people could spend a lifetime trying to learn. But it was all just because I met the right people, treated them the right way, was willing to learn and work with them. And that's what helped me get into the right mindset to continue further our goals, is learning from somebody else who's put in the work and, fine-tuned the game to be, how it needs to go for you.
Man, true story. Surrounding yourself with the right people, and shout out to Webby, bro. That's a Connecticut. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut originally, so I got nothing but love.
Oh yeah,
Bridgeport, Connecticut, and he's originally from Norwalk, Connecticut. But we gotta support our and he's been doing this for 15, 20 years, bro. He's got longevity.
Mm-hmm.
He's got longevity.
And that's the thing too, is that goes back straight to the human thing. Is every single show, every venue we stopped at, he was out there helping unload, load up, put stuff together. He was working right with the crew, just like anybody else. He wasn't doing the whole rock star thing. I'm gonna go pass out in the green room while y'all do all this work to set up this show for me. His ass was out there the second we pulled up to the second we left, just like any other one of us. And that's huge. That helps you realize that you don't just get somewhere just because of who you are. It's how you are, how you handle it, how you handle yourself, how you treat the people around you. Like Straw always says, treat people decent.
Yes. Dooney, I know you got something to add to that, what he just said there. Go ahead, bro.
It's just about staying grounded, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And your blessings will continue to flow. The money should never change you. Neither should your position.
Exactly. And there's so few people like that now, so that's why it's super. Humbling, but inspirational.
Right.
To see somebody that big who's been in the game that long. And granted, yeah, not everybody knows who he is, but the ones that know who he is knows what he accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And to see somebody who's accomplished those things and does the things he does to also be right on the ground with everybody else and treat everybody else with the same respect and love and care. That's what keeps this thing going.
Man.
15 to 20 years.
Exactly.
That's how that happens, bro. Because otherwise, if you're not doing stuff like that, we've seen that you're going to either be a one-hit wonder or just a straight-up flash in the pan. Yeah, you might give us one good album from top to bottom, but that's all we're going to get from some people because they come in with the wrong mentality, bro. And that's going to eat up the opportunities of sustainability and longevity. And I don't care whether it's an artist, it's a construction worker, it's a doc, whoever it is, man. Like, you got to go in with the right mentality, bro. We're going to start winding down here just to be respectful of your time. But before we do, I know you kind of already alluded to kind of what's coming this year. So before you have and share any final thoughts, because we always give you as the guest the final words before we sign off. Long-term goals with what you're doing right now, all the cool ass shit that you're doing. What are just in general, generally speaking, whether for you as the human that you are, with the arenas that you're in and what you're doing. What's the goal, bro? What are we doing long term, Elusive?
Build something solid that my daughter can live the life that she wants to live, no matter what her choice is. That's been my game plan, is to do it big and do it right. And that means start from the ground up. I literally just started getting paid for some of my gigs. The first 2 years everything I did was basically just to do it, just for the experience, just for the chance to get into the right lanes. I've shot so many shows, videos, all that stuff, just on my dime, out of my time. Not that I had the extra time or the extra money, but that didn't matter to me. It wasn't about that. It was about getting to a spot where I can do something that can, be beneficial to anybody and everybody that I cross paths with. And once I got over that, man, how am I going to pay for this, or how am I going to do this without getting paid? The doors just started opening, not because I was doing everything for free for people, but because I was mastering my skill. I was learning I was learning how to navigate things, and that's more valuable than getting paid. I mean, everything that I learned, and people who pay, $20,000 go to a college for. And I invested it in myself and other people and learned just as much, if not more, firsthand. So, I mean, that's all it is. Obviously, their goal is to make it big and, all this, but the realistic goal that we all have is to make enough to be sustainable and not have to go work for somebody at a 9 to 5. Their realistic actual goal is, if they can make the same off of music that they make at a job, quit their job, we're happy with that.
Yep.
Yeah, granted, we want to grow, we want to keep going, but we don't have that, man, we got to hit that million, got to get that $1 million contract. That's not our goal. Our goal is just to be able to be decent people and live our lives doing the thing we love. And what comes from that, that's what comes from that.
Amen.
Talk to them kids, man. Talk to them kids, man. Let them hear you again, man. They hear that, man. You know what I mean? They think they're gonna be millionaires, bro. You don't take a million. You don't have to be a millionaire to be happy, bro.
Yeah.
That's
I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm just now figuring life out. And I've lived, like I said, I've lived 15 different lives in my lifetime, and none of it has really made. I mean, granted, yeah, it made me who I am. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't go through the things I did, but none of it was something sustainable or beneficial in a long-term, a happy life choice, basically.
Man, true story. These are going to be my final thoughts, specific to what you just said, Dooney. I want your final thoughts on this king that we're speaking with. And then we're going to let you close out the show with any words of advice, thoughts, any final words that you want to give, Elusive. And these are my final thoughts, and generally speaking, anybody, and this is a true fucking statement that what I'm about to say, anybody can go out there and get the bag. Okay, anybody can just be a flash in the pan and go out and get the bag. But the question is, to anybody watching, can you make the bag to hand out? And that's exactly what this brother is doing right now. He is making the bag, and he's going to be handing the fucking bags out, because he told you many different ways throughout this conversation of how that works. And that's going to be my final thoughts on that. Dooney, final thoughts for Elusive before we let him get back to his super dad duties here tonight.
Love, commitment, and sacrifice.
Yes, sir.
That's what I hear from you, King. That's my final wrap up. Love, commitment, and sacrifice. You do that, you'll be blessed.
Oh yeah.
With
Ain't
that
nothing
said,
wrong about that.
You get the final official words from the conversation. Anything you want to share, definitely make sure you let people know where they can follow you and find you as well. But any final pieces of advice, bro, it's your show. Anything that you want to end the show on, bro, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I'll start out with all the socials, everything. It's either Shots by Eagle. That's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. That's all my basically business things. Elusive 47 ENT. That's kind of like the management aspect of it. But as far as a final thought and final advice, I'd say to anybody is get out of your own damn way and believe in yourself, man. Just do it. Do the thing. It doesn't matter when you start, but it ain't going to happen until you start. And that's literally all it takes is just take that chance on yourself. You'd be surprised how easy things get when you start doing that. Yeah, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but you do that, focus on what matters first. And that's you. You need to accept you for you and believe in you. And from there, it's all the way up. Keep that faith, keep that goals, and that's about it.
Speaking our language out here, bro. Speaking our language. I knew we were gonna have a dope conversation tonight, bro.
You serving that raw dope, bro. That's that raw dope you can't go to jail for.
Right. Facts.
Yes, Dooney. Yes, bro. Yes. Real talk, bro. I really appreciate this conversation. I know.
Oh, I had a blast, man. I can't believe it's been an hour already.
Bro,
that flew by.
Bro, the door is always open and no different than any other family member that comes out. We don't even, man, we take the door off the motherfucking hinges for you, bro. There ain't even a door. Anytime that you want to come outside, anything that you got going on, specifically there's something, bro, hit us up. You're always, always, always welcome back. And no different than you were saying throughout your conversation, if we could be of any additional, asset to you, bro, just say the word, man, because we're the same as you said.
It goes both ways.
We want to see the homies win, bro, and you are a good dude, bro, and I love, and I know Dooney does.
You.
I know we both love seeing people like you win, bro, and if we could have, even if it's the smallest piece of that, bro, that's the gravy on my mashed potatoes, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Real talk. So we thank you for your time. We thank you for your conversation. And again, more than anything, we thank you for your trust in having this conversation with us, bro. Seriously.
I needed it. I can tell you right now, I definitely need it. I haven't had a genuine conversation like this about just life in a minute. It's just been focus and grind. But
we are privileged.
I definitely appreciate y'all having me for sure.
Nah, man, it is. It's our privilege. It's our honor for you popping outside with us tonight, bro. We're definitely gonna this will be living on YouTube damn near immediately by tonight or tomorrow morning at the latest. We'll keep you up and tag you in some stuff throughout the next week or so as well. But with that said, we're gonna let you get back to your super dad duties. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been tuning in live, we appreciate you rocking with us. Real conversations happen here, raw, authentic.
Stay doing it, man.
Bro, for real, we've been outside.
Much love.
Eagle, he is on every platform out there. Go to our channel as well, because if you can't find him we're gonna put it on our channel, but you can follow him right directly through our channel as well. You can find us on YouTube, of course. We go live on YouTube and Twitch every Monday, Instagram, Facebook. It's all love, it's all respect, it's all family when you're outside, bro. So thank you, bro. We definitely got to do this again. If
y'all.
Honor again, we could definitely do this again, bro.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
y'all. Much love.
Stepping outside with us.